You're watching this interview right now because you saw the thumbnail or it was suggested to you to watch this video. And the only way to find out if it's what you think it is to stay tuned. Ensure that if this video is entertaining, educational, or informative to you in any way, you hit a like button. Leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing or things we could do better. And as always, if you feel the need to support us but can't afford to, just hit that subscribe button and let us know that you care. Please enjoy our interview with Elevated Kennels.
Please forgive. Too many mind.
Too many mind?
Mind the
Watch that
school.
thing, son.
Mind the people.
Let him go, Andre.
Mind the enemy. Too many mind.
Having multiple litters. How do you walk me through a morning taking care of multiple litters? Because I've never had more than one litter at a time.
I mean, I get up a couple times through the night just to check on them. But say I wake up at like 8 o'clock to feed them and stuff. I just mix up their food together. I got 2 bowls, just mix it up. Like I say, if you're doing that, then you're already doing the work for it anyways. So like, if you got good mamas and stuff, then you're just pretty much catering to them what they need, and they're doing for the puppies. Like, I check them, I look them all over, make sure there's no genetic problems or anything, make sure their teeth and stuff are good. Like, but it's really not hard. You just make sure you feed them real good and make sure they get enough food, and keep the mama healthy. Make sure she's wormed properly. Like, people worm the mama or the puppies at 2 weeks, but not worm the mama. You can worm the mama too. You can worm the mama 2 weeks before she has the puppies. You should worm the mama before she's bred and the daddy before they're bred. Like, that should be a very thorough process. The whole making sure there's no parasites involved in that process.
All right. And so you've bred them. You've whelped the 2 litters. Now you're with what registries, or who would you register with?
I use the APDR, the American Preservation Dog Registry. That's ran by Christy Crandell and Jesse Alice's are real good people. The show scene's been really cool. That's something I'm new in. And then I use Bonafide. They're just a record keeping company.
Nice. Bonafide is where I started with, and I added ADBA, and we kind of talked about it offline. It's kind of regional. Like your registry, your region, and your registry do affect how active you can get.
Yeah, there's a lot more ADBA or APDR shows than ADBA shows around me. Like, I've been to like 6 or 7 dog shows, and there ain't been 6 or 7 ADBA ones in my area since then. So,
yeah, that's actually a complaint I've gotten from a lot of guys that call me and contact me. Like, yeah, man, like, how do we get the ADBA to come to our state, or to our region of the state?
well, like, the ADBA ain't gonna come to your state. You're gonna have to make a club, get authorization through the ADBA to make a club, and then you can host shows in your area. I'm pretty sure is how it works. I don't think they're just going to, like, all their judges and stuff are going to come here for, no reason. Like, that's same as the APDR. If I get a venue and stuff and get all the judges and work it all out, I can host a show. They won't care in my area. They're going to be here for it and everything. But there will eventually be an APDR show, I'm hoping, in the Waynesville area.
Nice.
Because we travel anywhere from 3.5 hours to 8 hours to dog shows.
Yep, same, and that's really the reason why I started a digital dog show, because for people who want to get active in between there, you condition a dog. I don't want to condition a dog for 1 or 2 shows. I'm trying to do a full circuit. I'm trying to hit every spectrum I can to really show my work, because just because I don't win in this market doesn't mean I'm not going to win in this market, or just beat different people.
Yeah. Well, and who you're standing there against, the people wants to not talk about that, but there is a little bit of politics in all these shows and stuff. So who you're standing there across from, he might win every time because of who he is.
Yes.
But as long as you still got to put in the work, it don't matter. It don't matter.
Well, I'll give you an example of that, man. And this is kind of going to diverge from our original topic of preserving the breed, but we'll rope it back in, because I like to keep these things organic, right? And so I was at a show, and my dog included, it was about 85, 90 degrees. and all the dogs got tired by the end of the day, right? And the sun, except for one dog, and this dog didn't win. And I could talk about it offline the kennel name, but this dog did not win any show. But this dog was springy the entire day, from 6 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. That dog was doing flirt poling and running, just pacing back and
So
forth.
they put the work in on that dog. It had
Yes,
actually been
absolutely,
conditioned. See,
absolutely.
that's something I've talking about too. I said that if you go to these dog shows and you're competing for best condition, then you ought to have to explain what conditioning is to win best condition. They
Yeah,
say, yeah, you can win it, but explain to me what conditioning is if you want to win it. You can't just show up with your dog skinny and a little bit in shape and win best condition because it's the leanest one there. That's not right. The leanest one there ain't in the best condition. I don't think that watching them stand there and being like, this one's best condition is the proper way to even prove that.
yeah.
So I think that's a little bit of a weird, that one's a weird class. Best
It
condition
is. It is. It's more for the ego, man. Because I'm not gonna lie. Like I
Well,
was, I
like,
was, I was runner
what do
up,
you
but
think the definition? What do you think the definition of conditioning is?
so to me, and this is, I don't broaden it on. I broaden it. It's, are you conditioned to do the activity you're supposed to be engaging in? That's conditioned to
Mm-hmm.
me. So if that means you need to do more road work or more cardio, then that's what you need to do to compete long distance. Or if you're going for something muscular, you need to condition your body muscular to be ready for the activity you're performing.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta be on to what you're doing. Like everybody wants to like take these big, tall, long dogs to. I'm gonna give away a little piece of information, but I hope somebody takes this and beats the people at these treadmill races. Just to be real with you, short dogs win treadmill races. Tall dogs do not win treadmill races. If you watch that belt, a short dog is running its legs more, and that belt's turning more turns. And you can put the video in slow motion and watch it. That's how it works. Uh, yeah, I don't know. You gotta have your dog in proper shape for what you're doing the activity with. I agree with that. And like people wants to talk about conditioning. Well, the definition of the word condition is to uh, teach an human or animal to accept certain circumstances. It does
Nice.
not mean to get it in shape. It does not mean none of that. You're teaching that dog to accept what it's going to put up with in the situation. That's all it is. Like that's why putting them through a keep. They're like, oh well, you're just getting him in shape. No, you're not working him that hard. People don't understand that. You're not running the dog to death. Like you're getting him to accept the circumstances of working for an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's all you're doing.
You know what? That's man. You said a mouthful right there, bro. That was a mouthful, but it makes a lot of sense. Um, a lot of the old school guys would have OTCs, and they would just keep them in shape year round. They could just pull
Mm-hmm.
them off and work them because they worked them consistently. They were all this like 12 weeks to the show, like that wasn't that's not necessarily necessary for what you're trying to do,
Well,
especially if you got a barnstormer.
yeah, that's true, and it also depends on the blood you got. Like, how does the blood maintain its condition after it's been put in that shape? Like, put your dog in condition and see how long it can hold that. You know what I mean? Like I don't I don't necessarily like to keep a dog conditioned for a long time. I actually keep my dogs pretty fat, and then if I'm gonna condition one, I'll put them in shape. Like if they're lean and in condition all the time, they're like it can affect their blood and stuff. Their blood's a little bit more like fine to mess with. Like you give them too much calcium. It's easier to give them too much calcium then, or too much of this or too much of that if they stay lean all the time.
So, bro, that's another good point. So my thing is this, and I mentioned this in an interview I did recently. Uh, we talked about it offline, but I did another interview where I was being interviewed, and a lot of people don't like the look that I like, but I like that bully son, overdone
Mm-hmm.
look. I like that
Mm-hmm.
barrel chested look personally, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to breed for it. Like that's what I like. And for my dogs, they actually, I think they do better when I do weight training as far as looking
Mm-hmm.
the part
Mm-hmm.
than they do because the bully son dogs are typically known to be barnstormers anyways, and even some of my Frisco
Yep.
blood is known to be heavy mouth barnstormers. They can go to distance, but that's not their forte. So yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I like the short, blocky look. That's all growing up. That's what you've seen in the Carolinas.
Yep.
People want to talk like you didn't see these long rangy dogs. You didn't see them under. I never seen a male under 45 pounds. Probably like they were all big, blocky, strong dogs. Like it's hard to explain. Like me and my buddy Daniel talk about this all the time. Throwback from Throwback Kennels, we talk about it all the time. Somewhere in the 80s there was a change in the pit bull terrier for what it is, like 80s, and then by the time that I was growing up, late 90s early 2000s, it got to here, the hollers in the mountains, and that's when we started seeing them long rangy dogs around here, like early mid 2000s.
All right. If you want to speculate, I can speculate, and we can piss a lot of people off with this interview because
Yeah.
I'm there because I had a conversation yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll tell you this: the first thing is when I see those little small dogs that are super gamey, I'm like, there's Patterdale there, and it's been bred out. My opinion,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sticking with it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then for those longer rangier ones, I would say there's either some ridgeback or something added for just a little bit of edge, and they bred it out.
You know what a plot hound is?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah,
Okay, so I live 15 minutes from Plot Farm where the plot hound was like originally bred, and
yeah,
I'm telling you, this is gonna make some people mad. Some of them Eli dogs, they have some type of hound in them, and I was standing on Floyd's yard, and I told a guy, I said, honestly, I think the biggest difference in these dogs is the hound contribution, and he turned around and he smiled at me, and I'll never forget that. He didn't say nothing, but he smiled at me and just kept walking and said, "Here's, look at these dogs." He knows. Everybody knows.
yeah.
That okay, if you had game dogs and you bred them for a long time and they ran and you lost grit, the initial willingness to, that's grit. People will mistake grit and gameness and like drive. Grit is wanting just getting in there like in a malicious type of way. Okay, if you want that and you lost it, the best way to get it is from a game hound.
Yeah.
I mean, and half of the Bolio dog stuff from like Arizona, Nevada, all that area, they look a lot like redbone looking hounds, if you ask me.
Yeah. Whenever I see the dog buck specifically,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, like, he looks like he got looks like some Weimaraner, or, just
Mm-hmm.
there's a look to it. Now, I'm not. This is not to
Well,
confirm or deny any of that. It's just what I speculate.
yeah, no. Yeah, no, we don't. Nobody knows. The only people who knows is the people there was doing the breedings, holding the collars.
Yeah.
That's the only people who knows. And I mean, like, it could have been traits popping up in these dogs that were in it before people started registering them and stuff. Like, people wants to talk about they started registering dogs in 1889, and they did. That's when the UKC started. The ADBA started in 1909,
Yeah.
and they'll talk about the Irish brought these dogs here and stuff. But as far back as they want to go is 1860s, 1850s. That's when the I think it was the potato famine or whatever in Ireland was,
Yeah.
and that's when they want to talk about the Irish bringing dogs here. Well, I have it on record. I can show you on the books that my family come here from Cork County, Ireland in 1611 on the Mayflower. My Irish family was here that 200 years prior to when they claimed the dogs was here. And you think they didn't bring dogs then? Like you think they didn't breed their dogs didn't actually accidentally breed with dogs the Indians had? Like, I mean, the breed that we harnessed and picked and made the American Pit Bull Terrier took lots of years of making. It wasn't just so four dudes put some together and bred them and called them what they were.
Yeah.
They were around for a long time.
Especially if you're breeding best to best.
Mm-hmm.
I heard
The
I
word
was on the
the word purity is made up by man to help them sell dogs.
yeah.
That's it. I mean, if it's not 3-4 times the same dog, then you're not seeing purity. You're just seeing that dog for the breed, I guess is what people want to call it.
Like since we're pissing people off, I want to roll into that. Uh, so I've
Bro,
seen game dogs get whooped by bullies on camera, and it wasn't in a match setting,
yeah,
And I've always wondered, like, because we, as far as game dog people, we're like, my dog can whoop anything, and it can't.
yeah.
Like, I want to knock that misnomer out as well. Like, I've seen game dogs get their heads bashed in before, and it wasn't in no box. It got off the
Mm-mm.
chain and ran up on the wrong animal and got whooped real good,
Yep.
And I just want to say that we over romanticize what these dogs are capable of. They're super
Yep.
tough. They're super rugged, but they're at the end of the day they are dogs.
Yep. Yep. And like people wants to romanticize like the word gameness. The word gameness is like kind of like it's kind of cruel in a way. I mean, it really is not for the dogs, but like their mindset. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You're a pretty determined animal. Like you're not victim to anything, and I admire that. That's what I admire in a game dog. A real, you're not a victim to anything.
Yeah, I like that.
Either way, you're not quitting.
All right, so we kind of got off subject, but we talked about
Mm-hmm.
the things we needed to talk about. But now I
Mm-hmm.
want to get into the future. What kind of stuff do you want to see your dogs bred doing?
I mean, people can take my dogs and do anything. My parents had them as pets for us. I mean, we had them as pets. My dad had dogs on chains and stuff, but they still went to the lake with us. I was like 8 years old walking Thor around the lake, and he had done gotten like 3 or 4 yard accidents and stuff. Like he was a turned on dog. He was a turned on dog, but I'm walking him around the lake wearing sunglasses, like, and people don't understand what they are. Uh, my dad had a litter out of Dixie and Thor, and he had them in a big kennel that was probably I don't know 15 by 10 or whatever, and he never took Dixie out. They bred, and she got fat, and she had the puppies, and Thor stayed in there with her with the puppies, and they lived all the way until they were 6 weeks old, and people come and got them in that kennel together, the whole family. I've never seen that before in my life, other than that one time. And Thor and Dixie were both real deal. Anybody can question what they want to. Dixie was real deal.
I I hate when people try to go, well, if your dog don't do this, it's a cur, or your dog don't do that, it's a cur,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I know that there are some dogs that would sleep with a cat, but
Yeah,
put in the right setting, they were just aware of what their setting was. And I'll give you an example of why I think that's important. The same way that me, I do protection work. Everybody talks crap about me for doing protection work, but my dogs can decipher between when they should and when they shouldn't bite. So
yeah,
teaching a dog is about what you know, how you communicate with your animals, and the better you know your animals, the better you can prepare them for. In this situation, it's not acceptable, but in this situation, it is.
yeah, yeah. And like triggers, that they don't understand triggers. Like what makes the dog react in that situation, anyways. Like protection work is okay if you know exactly how to do it. That's people wanted to there for a while. They seen Marlin from DD Canine,
Yeah,
cool dude. They seen him and they thought they could make their dog bite something. That's not very smart. That's not very
no,
smart. You should definitely do your research. You should know what the meaning of the terms they use are. You should know tendencies of dogs when you start doing this. If you teach them this, what will it make them do that you could see as undesirable? You know,
yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, like I taught my dog Colt. He passed away now. I taught my dog Colt to face. I tell him face, and he'd go between my legs and look at something, ready to hit it. And that was bad to teach him, because when he was on a chain, he would try to face you and he'd wrap you up in a chain. And I watched him. I watched it. I rolled. I watched him drag my sister around for 3-4 minutes by the chain because of it.
Yeah, man. That's that's
But
those moments that but you learn from them, because you don't know you don't know everything is inherently bad until you try it. Um,
just like I was his decoy a bunch. Don't do that. Don't buy your own dog and be his
yeah,
decoy, because then every time you say the word, he's gonna want to turn around and bite you for the fun of it.
yep,
He thinks he's playing. Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, I done my fair share of that, and it would have been a lot better if I had a decoy. Like if me and you could do it, we could make some dogs do some crazy stuff.
yeah.
But look how far we are away.
So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find me a helper here in Tucson, and I'm gonna start just
Mm-hmm.
posting basic videos. Like
Yeah,
but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a lot of talking in the beginning of the videos about the who, what, when, where, and why, because I want people to do this safely. People are gonna do it
yeah,
regardless. Like they're gonna do it regardless. So I want to make sure that people are doing it as safe as possible. Like look, like You don't need anything more than a sleeve. Don't go to a full suit. Don't even teach the dog to bite the full human anatomy.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
even need that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. You know who has his at Shield Canine?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I like listening to his stuff too. He's very informative, and like he a dog trainer just like you. A dog trainer don't train dogs. He
Yeah.
trains the handler. I mean, that's what they do. They don't train dogs. They train people.
Yeah. Because honestly, man, like you make better people, you make better dogs. And even for you,
Mm-hmm.
like when you if somebody gets a dog from a person that I deal with, like basically if I'm doing an interview with you or if you're on my live, you're somebody I typically deal with more than just on the camera. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so like if somebody had like one of your dogs and they wanted to prove it and they're in my area, like I would work with them a lot faster than I've worked with somebody who just I didn't know, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to understand like this social media stuff is a great way to network and meet people who I'd be willing to work with because I know that the first thing is they care about the dogs genuinely. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I got coworkers that are like, "Hey, can I just send you my dog and you train it?" I hate that question.
Nope.
I hate that question. I train your dog, it learns my voice. I send it back to you, and it doesn't do it because your voice doesn't sound like my voice.
Yeah. Or you just don't know how to do it. I mean,
Yeah,
you ain't been taught how to handle it properly.
yeah,
You ain't been taught all its triggers that it knows. So I definitely agree. I'm not too picky on what people does with my dogs. They can do anything. I mean, they've been in all types of situations for generations, so I'm not real picky on what they do with them. I'd like to see some hog hunt, like we were talking about. I'd like to see some be pets. Some do need to only be pets. I'd like to see some of them bred. Some of them I specifically want a place to be bred further. I mean,
yeah,
everybody wants a working dog, but breeding dogs make working dogs. Like,
yes,
I mean, you don't get working dogs that are only working them. You got to pay attention to genetics and breeding good quality genetics together. Like sometimes what people don't think about what makes a good game dog might be a genetic flaw.
yeah,
I
yes,
mean, some good game dogs lack defensive tendencies, and that's a genetic flaw. Some people some people lack grit, and that's a genetic flaw. Like I don't know, so when they lack something, it's important on the interview. But yeah, I don't know. People like if they don't have no defensive tendencies, they're lacking. Like you, that's important in a dog. I mean, it's important. They need to know when to like switch stuff up to save themselves. If they're not willing to do that, that's if they're not willing to switch something up to save themselves, that's defensive. No defensive tendencies. You're just seeing the lack of.
yeah,
And I mean, I really, like I said, I really don't care what people does with them. I'd love to see them do all kinds of stuff. I've placed them with old people just because I'm like, yeah, this dog deserves to live with an old person and have that good life.
yeah,
Like, I don't know. And like Jarvis, he's the most beautiful. He's one of the most beautiful ones I've made, and he lives with an old man. So I mean, like he really is. And I don't know. It all just what people wants to do with him. I mean, you can't make the next man. He may be interested in your dog, but you can't make him go and do whatever he wants to do with it. So I mean, there's been
nah,
people do stuff I didn't want them to do with it. I sold a dog to one of my close family members. Was my close family member, and they were supposed if they got rid of it, I was going to buy it back from them for what they bought it from me for. Well, she didn't tell me she was selling it and sold it for 200-300 more dollars than what I sold it to her for. That's not right. That's what I mean by you can't control what people does. You guys, it's whatever. Don't if you don't have complete faith in somebody, don't sell them a dog you care about seeing in the future.
yeah, yeah. That's man, that's a golden message right there because I've definitely I definitely seen one of the ones that I thought would have been a great brood stock ruined by somebody who didn't appreciate it. So
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And people will if they ain't put in the time and effort and stuff like nobody loves my dogs as much as me. I don't care what anybody says, nobody does because I put in so much time, effort, like money, like just everything to just make them have the life they live and be known as much as they are. Like I've put them out there a lot more than people are willing to too. So
Yeah, bro. So hey, we just hit our 50-minute mark, man. We're gonna shut this down, but I'm gonna have you come back for a part two so we can like pick it back up where we left off at. Is there anything you want to plug in like for your kennel as far as the puppies? You want to say anything about that?
I mean, if somebody's interested in a double bred Mason puppy, you can hit me up and talk about it. I'm only gonna let them go to certain people, so really it just depends on the mindset of the person, and what they intend on doing with it. So I won't. These are dogs bred to produce. They're not dogs bred to do anything other. Like they will do other, but they're bred to produce. That's what I made them for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Well, y'all seeing it here. Elevated Kennels has been a big supporter of Samurai Kennels, and if it wasn't for him, man, I wouldn't have the contact information with some of the big names I've had on my show. So thank you, Elevated Kennels, from me to
oh
you.
yeah, you're welcome, man. Shit, I love your channel. It's a lot of it's about networking. People don't understand. I mean, people are so jealous they don't want to be like, hey man, hit this guy up. Shit, I've told people hit all kinds of people up. I've connected people, and that's what's important. Like, and there should be. It's a community. Everybody wants to split it up, state to state, this and that. Guess how much you're lacking splitting it up by state to state?
Yeah.
Like not introducing yourself to Dogman and Washington because he's so far away. Shit, we got technology now. We can talk all we want to. There ain't nothing that can stop that. So
Yes,
that
sir.
people needs to use the technology they have in their hands productively and stop being so greedy with this breed. Everybody wants to talk about preserving the breed, but ain't giving shit to it.
If you too would like to be interviewed like Dakota was here on our channel, reach out to us at samuraikennels at gmail.com. Additionally, I'll put a link in the description for our website and our business phone number. For our business phone number, please send a text message letting me know who you are so that I can return your phone call and we can set something up. Also, if you're interested in our digital dog show, which is coming up in September, this is a great way to get behind the scenes information. Thank you.